Live via satellite, it's Rockline. The show where you interview the biggest stars in rock and roll. Rockline is brought to you by 24 on Fox. Hi, I'm Bob Coburn in Los Angeles, and tonight, from Toronto, Ontario, we welcome Rush. To speak with Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, call the toll-free Rockline at 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625. One number toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. And now, let's welcome our guests. Rush just debuted at number 3 on the Billboard Magazine music chart with their brand new CD, Snakes and Arrows, and now they join us to talk about it as we welcome Geddy Lee. Geddy, how you been?
I've been great, Bob. How are you?
I'm well. Good to have you back on again. And also joining us, Alex Lifeson. Alex, good evening. Welcome to Rockline again.
Hello, Bob.
Lifeson will always follow Lee alphabetically. That's just the way you get introduced. Lee,
we're going to try to fix that.
You have that restructuring of the alphabet thing before Congress, huh?
Well, there's no I in Lee.
or respect, or some other words that have been bandied about this evening already. Congratulations on the debut, number 3 on Billboard. Way to go. That tops
Thanks.
Vapor Trails, which came in at 6, I think.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're
and
very pleased about that.
always good to be headed north, you know. That's always a good thing. Let's go through the recording process and kind of talk about that. I'll remind you what the questions are. I'm going to fire a salvo at you here. When did it start? Did you send Neil music and he write to it? Where'd you record? How'd you choose Nick? So let's start with when did you start working on Snakes and Arrows?
We started, what was it, March last?
Yeah.
Last March, Alex and I decided we were going to get together in a more casual way rather than getting Neil and the crew and everybody together like we did with Vapor Trails, which was a whole, big deal. We decided we wanted to start more casually, so Alex and I started writing together at my house in my home studio. Neil sent us a bunch of lyrics, and we just sat down in a very relaxed way, working a few times a week and trying to gather some material together, and working mostly on acoustic and bass in kind of a stripped-down way, which was kind of inspired by the way we worked on the feedback songs when we put that EP together. We kind of really enjoyed the simplicity of that arrangement and thought that maybe we should go back to that when we started writing our own material. So that's kind of how we got the ball rolling. And then we played the stuff that we had written. I guess we had about 5 songs, something like that, and we played it for Neil. And we decided to get together with him and get more formal at that point. So he came down to Toronto, and we went into a studio and spent a few months on and off writing more songs, making these songs that we originally sketched out more fleshed out. And during that process, we also got serious about finding a producer, and that's when the lovely Nick Raskulinecz came into our lives. And his name was suggested to us, and we had to listen to his reel of his work. And we were very impressed by it, the quality of the recording and the quality of the songs that were actually on the reel. And he came to Toronto to meet with us. He met with Alex and I first at my place, and we played him some songs, and there was an instant vibe between us right away, and we loved his energy and we loved his ideas, and he was just full of ideas. So then Neil met him out in Los Angeles, and we all agreed that this was a guy that we thought would be a great fit for us, and that's how it all got going.
Oh, he's got a good reel: Velvet Revolver, Stone Sour, Foo Fighters, Shadows Fall, and now Rush, which I think is probably the coup d'etat for him, actually. And then you recorded in upstate New York, Alex, is that right?
Yeah, we went to Allaire in the Catskills, just outside of Woodstock, and we spent about 5 weeks there. Actually, we originally intended to just go in and do the drum tracks, and then come back to Toronto and continue with guitar, vocals, and bass here. But we got so into the vibe in that room. It was a great studio and a really lovely location, perched atop a mountain. And we spent the 5 weeks there, finished just about all the recording, took Christmas off, and then in the new year we went to Los Angeles to mix, do vocals on a couple more songs, and then we spent 5 weeks in Los Angeles. It's the first record that we recorded and mixed in the U.S. in all these years. So
it's actually our first American producer that we've ever worked with. So a couple of firsts for us, and it all worked out really, really well.
Oh, there's your CanCon going down the drain right there in your Canadian content.
But we're Canadians, so.
Thank God for that. We are going to play a bunch of songs from the brand new album, Snakes and Arrows, this evening. The lines have been jammed since we turned the phones on about 35 minutes ago. We'll begin with a single, Far Cry. Was this a unanimous choice, or was there debate about this being the first single?
I think it was pretty unanimous. This was a song that Nick felt strongly about from the moment we wrote it. And it was one of those songs that just came together in a great kind of 48-hour period of writing. After we'd had about a month off in our writing sessions, we got back together, and Alex and I had this fantastic jam. And then the next day, there were these lyrics sitting on the console waiting for me when I got into the studio, and the song just came together very, very quickly.
And there it is, Far Cry, the first single from Snakes and Arrows, the brand new CD by Rush. We're joined by Alex and Geddy. And your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK to the first time out, a little taste of a song called Workin' Them Angels. It's Rockline. We're back with Rush, with Geddy and Alex from the band. And your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK from West Palm Beach, Florida. We welcome Max. Kick us off, Max.
Hi there. I just want to cut to the chase since there's others after me, and I have 3 questions all about videos.
Sure.
First question is for Alex. Why the first video in 10 years for Far Cry? Okay, the other question is, who shot the fly-by-night video and at what church? That was the first Rush promo clip. And then the last is, put it to rest, Geddy, was Julian in Distant Early Warning, or was that myth?
Okay.
Far Cry.
Do you want me to do that Far Cry question? This is how the Far Cry video came up. We were really not interested in doing videos much anymore. And so originally we were just going to put the song out and ask people, kind of to do their own, videos for kind of a YouTube kind of a deal. And then the record company was so in love with the song, and they just wanted to have something that they could put together. So there's this fabulous director here in Canada named Christopher Mills, and he really wanted to do something with that song, and so we gave him pretty well carte blanche just to do something as weird as he could think of. And that was the only thing we demanded, was that it was as weird as he could think of, and he accomplished that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Fly by night church?
The church. It wasn't a church. It was a school in southern states. I think in Georgia, actually.
Yeah, just outside of Atlanta or something.
Yeah, we were doing a gig, right? And we were doing a gig that night, and we loaded in, and there was this kind of castle set up in another auditorium. And we just happened to have a guy with us who was a camera guy. I think he was working for the record company, right? Wasn't that the story? And so we just did the song, and he just quickly shot it, and just for our own kind of use. But of course, we never used it. So, and that's why it was one of those Easter eggs on the last DVD. And what was the last question? Julian. No, that was not Julian.
That quashes that one. Max, there you go. And the show's over. Thanks for listening. We got Tim in Pittsburgh. Welcome to Rockline.
Hi, Geddy.
Hi.
Hi, Alex. Good to talk to you guys.
Hi, Tim.
Okay. Let me cut to the chase, too. I just want to ask you guys, on Snakes and Arrows, I think the artwork is terrific. And I noticed that each song has a corresponding picture to it. And I love the one for Gravest Face, but I would like to know, each of you, Geddy and Alex, what is your favorite artwork on the whole album?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you noticed that. I mean, it's like we really wanted to have 12 album covers for this particular disc, and the artwork turned out so strong that every one of them could justify being its own cover. But I don't know, what is your favorite, Al?
I think I really like the pram on the dog.
Far Cry one.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, that's a great image, and I also like the larger bull one with the kind of shiny car in that kind of scruffy alleyway, and the little boy's toy. That's obviously a handmade toy. I find that quite striking as well.
I'm looking at that one right now. It looks like a 59 Plymouth to me. Looks like the fin of a 59 Plymouth. And great artwork throughout. Tim, good questions. Thank you. Mark is in Sarnia, Ontario. We're on Q107 in Toronto tonight. And Mark, you're on Rockline.
Hi, I have two questions tonight. I was just wondering, what type of hearing protection do you use on stage? How does it compare to when you first started out? And does anyone suffer from tinnitus?
No one suffers from tinnitus, and we wear in-ear monitors, so you can adjust the volume to something that's comfortable for your hearing without increasing the levels to approach anything that we used to listen to when we had the open monitors, which was very, very loud on stage.
Yeah.
And lots of high frequencies and very, very cutting. Now it's much more controlled and much better for your hearing.
Yeah, and they're custom made to your ear, and they take a mold of your inner ear and they sculpt it out through some sort of computer technology.
You have mold in your inner ear?
I knew you were going to say that. But I have to say, we don't have tinnitus, but we're pretty well deaf. No.
What?
We do have.
No, we're dumb.
We do have hearing damage to some degree from squealing monitors.
I think it's a sign. We'll play a song. We're going to play a bunch of new ones, but we've got to play a couple from the past, too, including this one on Rockline. Closer to the Heart, it's Rush. We're joined by Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee. And your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK. And checking in from Detroit is Michael. Welcome to Rockline.
Hi, Geddy. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Michael.
My question for you guys tonight is, great album, by the way. I'm really liking it. But for
Thank
Geddy
you.
specifically, Faithless. I just want to know what your feelings are for singing a song that by a lot of people could be seen as really, really dark. You know, singing that I don't have faith in faith, I don't have belief in beliefs. How does that strike you as a singer to sing those words?
I related to those words, actually. I find them among my favorite on the album because it's not just about those two lines, it's about what follows it. After the lyrics say, I don't have faith in faith, I don't believe in belief, but I still cling to hope and I believe in love. And those are things that you have to believe in to carry on. So I don't really see that as necessarily such a dark song. Sure, it's dealing with a reality that if you're not one of those people that subscribes to a particular religion or particular organized religion, then, you're kind of cast out like a stone in the river. But nonetheless, there's such a thing as a personal belief system and spirituality, and that is revolving around hope and love. And I think those are very, very positive thoughts.
And the song Faithless is preceded by the song Hope, which features you, Alex. Did you take the title of Hope from Faithless that follows?
I did, in fact.
And we will
How's
hear
that
just...
for an answer?
No, there you go. Thank you so much for extolling on that.
No, actually, we had a playback when we were in the studio. Nick was great. At the end of every night, he wanted to listen to all the tracks that we were working on at least 3 or 4 times. We were always ready for bed. But once we got kind of the whole thing up, it seemed appropriate that that would be the title for that song. And it's a hopeful sounding song to me.
It is to me as well. I want to mention Rockline is brought to you by Fox. We're back with the guys and more of your calls in just a moment. The last 30 seconds of hope. It's Rockline. We're back. I'm Bob Coburn with Alex Lifeson, Geddy Lee, and your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK. As you might imagine, the line's been jammed up all evening long, but keep giving it a try. RocklineRadio.com is our website. You can see who's coming on the show. Static X is coming. Then Ozzy Osbourne's going to be here. Chris Cornell with his new album. Daltrey, kind of out of the blue with that band. #1 on Billboard for about 3-4 weeks in a row. And Korn, always welcome guests on Rockline. Let's go back to the phones to Worcester, Mass. From, let's see, we're going to talk to Dan. Dan, welcome to Rockline.
Thank you. Hello, Geddy and Alex.
Hello, Dan.
Hello there.
Hi there. My question is for Alex. Even though you wrote most of the album on acoustic guitar, was it always a plan to use as much acoustic in the recording of Snakes and Arrows?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I really don't know. I was playing a lot of acoustic before we started working on the record. I just sort of gravitated to it. And when we started writing, it was a wonderful way to capture melody and really connect to the songs. But when it came to recording, I wasn't quite sure. I think I probably felt that I would have less acoustic on the recording, but there was something that was very rhythmic about the role that the acoustics were playing underneath the electrics, and it just seemed to add another level of energy to it.
Vapor Trails was Sans solos. They're back on this album. I like that.
Yes, solos are back. My friend here, Al,
Hi.
sometimes we call him Lurks, is, in my opinion, one of the great soloists in rock today, and it's fantastic that he's pulled off so many fantastic solos on this album. Really proud of the work that he did.
He's also a genuinely modest man, and thanks for stepping in on that one, Geddy. And thanks to Dan for the call. We'll talk to Ronnie, who's in Miami. Ronnie, you're on Rockline with Geddy and Alex.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hey.
Hey, you guys are awesome, man. The album is incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I wish you the best of luck on this tour and on this album. And my question to you guys is, when you were recording this album, I know you have a lot of outside influences like you did on Feedback and like The Who and all these other great bands from the 60s. Any of those influences apparent on this album from, you've brought acoustic into this album, which is, very different from what you've done in the past. It's the first time I think I've heard a lot of the album with acoustic. So,
Well, yeah, go ahead. Did I cut you off? Sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
He's done, yeah.
I would say that that's a good question, because when we did the Feedback album, there was something about learning those songs by those bands that we grew up with, that we, bands we really respected, and playing some of those classic songs really reminded us a lot about some of those song structures and some of the simplicity of the arrangements of some of those songs. And I think when we came together to work on this material, we wanted to bring a bit of that lesson with us, so to speak. And the other great thing was playing those songs and recording Feedback in a very kind of live way was also very instructive on where to start with this album. So I think the spirit of that period definitely had an effect on where we went in terms of writing and our attitude about recording this particular album.
The Snakes and Arrows tour begins in Atlanta on the 13th of June, the 15th, West Palm Beach, Florida, Tampa on the 16th, the 18th of June in Charlotte. You can find all those dates at rush.com. And we speak now to Nikki from Boulder, Colorado. Hi, Nikki.
Hi there, Bob, Geddy, Alex. An honor to speak to all of you.
Thank
looking
you.
forward to seeing. Hi, looking forward to seeing y'all perform in August at Red Rocks.
Great.
I've got two questions, if it's okay. The first is for Geddy and Alex, of course. This album seems a lot more specifically political in its content. Not that you haven't been political before, but the way the wind blows actually name checks a couple of Bushisms. I'm wondering what prompted this more specificity in the political content. And the second question is actually for Bob Coburn, because he was probably more likely to be watching American TV in the late 80s. Every time I hear Malignant Narcissism, there's some old TV show whose theme music is on the tip of my tongue, and I don't know what it is. I'm wondering if Bob knows what I'm being reminded of, because I don't.
Honestly, I don't. I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did. I spent my share of time on TV in the 80s, but I don't remember that either, actually. You guys, question number one, the political content. What prompted, and do you agree with her assessment?
Sure. Well, political, philosophical, it's a fine line between those two. But I would say that, she's right in terms of some of the quotes and some of the allusions that Neil made in those lyrics. But, he spent a long time traveling around America on his motorcycle and observing life and observing, slogans and, to be essentially a fly on the wall. And a lot of the lyrics from this album are a result of some of the observations he made through that trip. And so he's commenting really on the moment, the wave of things that he sees crossing America in terms of political thought and in terms of, religious thought, philosophical thought. I mean, for me, Neil's lyrics rarely get political, but they're always philosophical.
Does his ability to write still just blow you guys away like it does the rest of us? That man can write.
I think we know him too well to be blown away. I think we have great respect for him. And for myself, being a singer, he's the ultimate writing partner. He's completely modest and completely open to any comment that I may make in regards to something that I need to have in terms of writing a melody or singing the song, if there's an imperfection or an awkwardness, he wants to know about it, and he wants to fix that for me because he wants me to be able to deliver the best, melody and emotion in the song possible. So he's really an amazing, songwriting partner from that point of view. No ego at all.
Well, I'm certain that we all have our favorites on the brand new CD, Snakes and Arrows by Rush, and this is definitely mine, The Way the Wind Blows on Rockline. That is just a spectacular song. Congratulations to you, Geddy, Alex, and to Neil as well for that. The Way the Wind Blows from the brand new Rush album, Snakes and Arrows. Our line is always open for Canadian listeners, and taking advantage of that at 1-800-344-ROCK is Christine from Vancouver, British Columbia. Hi, Christine.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Christine.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. I'm great, thank you. I just want to tell you guys that you've been such a huge part of my life. I know that you're a huge part of many people's lives, but when I met my husband, he was a bass player in a Rush tribute band and told me that chicks don't dig Rush, which is so unbelievable.
You're getting a giggle there.
Tears was my wedding song. And I have the chorus for Free Will tattooed across my back, which I get so many compliments on, and I know what those words mean to me. I'm wondering what the words mean to you and what the thought process was behind that chorus.
I think it's a little bit different for everyone in the band probably, but it's just about, being an individual and the freedom of thought and the freedom to be what you want to be and think what you want to think. That's what that represents for me.
I got to tell you, I live my life by part of the words in that song. Sometimes I feel pressured to make choices sometimes, and I always think if you choose not to decide, you'll still have made a choice. The choice will reveal itself when the time is right to make it, and I think of that constantly. I didn't tattoo it on my back, though, Christine. Didn't go quite that far with it, but thanks for calling. That's a great story. Obviously a huge fan there. Terrence probably as well in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Terrence, you're on Rockline with Alex and Geddy.
Hey, thanks, Bob. Hi, Geddy. Hi, Alex. It's a pleasure to speak to you guys.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, I've been a fan for about 17 years, and I'm going to see you guys in West Palm Beach June 15th, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be my 5th time seeing you guys.
Great.
And my question is for Alex. On the new album, you thanked Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour. I was wondering what that was all about and if you are a major Gilmour fan.
I've always loved his playing. He's such a soulful player, and he has a wonderful sensibility, a bluesy sensibility that works so well in Pink Floyd and all his own solo work. I had the opportunity to meet him when he played here in Toronto, and we talked about writing on acoustic guitar, and it was a very inspiring conversation, and I watched him play that night, and it was very moving. He sounded so good, and he was such a great player. And it really meant a lot to me, so I just wanted to give him a shout-out.
I think you and David Gilmour, Alex, both have great tone when you play. Which is more important in achieving tone as a guitarist, the gear, the guitar, the equipment, or the player?
A lot of people would argue that it's in the gear. Others would argue that it's in the hands. I think I probably... I think it is in the hands more than anything. I think if you get 3 guitar players on the same equipment, it'll sound different between all 3 of them. So it's really an extension and a release of your abilities as a guitarist.
Any idea what the second single will be? I've heard discussion about the Larger Bowl, possibly Spindrift. We're about to play the Larger Bowl. Have you chosen a second single?
I don't know if it's been chosen yet, but I'd vote for the Larger Bowl myself. I love that song.
Alex, what about you?
Yeah, I think Larger Bowl too, actually.
Well, let's listen to it. Another absolutely stellar song from Snakes and Arrows by Rush. We're joined by Alex Lifeson, Geddy Lee, and your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK. I'm Bob Coburn. We're headed to a timeout with a little bit of Armor and Sword. Some of that acoustic guitar we've been discussing this evening. Heart Full of Soul from the DVD R30. We're back with Geddy and Alex from Rush, and your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK. From San Jose, California, Billy, welcome to Rockline.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, I just wanted to say, Alex, you're the most underrated guitar player that has ever lived, and I know you don't get enough credit for that, but I also wanted to ask how you guys came up with the title for this new album.
Well, Al, Do you want to give this one a shot?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. The title came out of the first line of the song Armor and Sword. And the line goes, the snakes and arrows a child is heir to are enough to leave 1,000 cuts. And to me, it was such a powerful idea that, the way you... your belief system and the things you teach your children at home and the things you force feed them or even inadvertently force feed them can affect the way they become and the way they grow up and can leave scars that we don't even imagine. And what a responsibility it is to be a parent. So that line really hit me quite hard, and the whole idea of snakes and arrows and how diverse a title that is, I thought would make a great album title.
And then you find out that there's an ancient game by that title?
That's right. Neil researched the phrase snakes and arrows and found this incredible game called Leela, and contacted the person who wrote about it and had produced this book about it and worked with them to create the cover art.
Billy, there you go. Thanks for joining us tonight on Rockline. We will head to the Midwest, to Chicago, and speak with Kurt. What do you have for Alex and Geddy, Kurt?
Hey, guys. It's a pleasure. Bob, you too.
Thank you.
Quick questions for Geddy, mainly. And first off, I want to say thanks for my marriage, because you guys are responsible for it. We met at the SAR show. And Alex, you're awesome, dude. You are absolutely awesome. But the question is, on this album, you have 3 instrumentals, and I know, Geddy, for you, I'm curious, when you guys put the instruments down at the end of the day and you leave, do you have a hard time listening to a song like Hope and not trying to insert lyrics into a song like that? Because every time I listen to it, I think, man, that's just such a beautiful piece. Do you struggle with trying to insert lyrics into a lot of the instrumentals? And by the way, the main monkey business is awesome. You guys are awesome, man. That tune jams.
Yeah, some pretty fancy playing in that one.
Thanks. It's funny. A lot of the instrumentals that we've written over the years have become other songs. We always set out to write an instrumental, and before you know it, it's become a song. And so we suffer the same way that you're describing. We sometimes write some music that we think is going to be instrumental, and we can't resist putting lyric to it. But there are times that it just deserves to stand on its own. And on this particular album, the 3 instrumentals that we wrote with that specifically in mind, for them to remain instrumentals. And for Hope, the beautiful acoustic piece that Alex plays, that was something that we'd been wanting to see him do for years, and we've always talked about having a moment for Alex to play his acoustic and play all these wonderful things that we hear him noodling with at the back of the room when we're in the studio or whatever is going on with Rush. And if there's an acoustic guitar handy, Alex is always playing it, and he's always playing these amazing things. So I was really, really pleased that he finally put something together that we could show off his acoustic playing ability.
I love that there are 3 instrumentals on Snakes and Arrows. You have a fine tradition of instrumentals. Where's My Thing, YYZ, on down the line, and to have 3 on this album is a real treat for me. How much can you guys speak to MVI, Music Video Interactive? You have a release coming out on June 5th. How much do you guys know about that? Often the artists aren't as aware of the technical aspects of some of these releases as publicists and things like that. How up on that are you guys?
That's true.
So take it, Bob.
Well, the great thing is, it's all comprised of 5.1 surround, as well as the the documentary of the making of this record, at least a portion of the making of the record, and it's all in a very great little package.
So you get 5.1 surround sound mix. You get a video of how this CD was made, high resolution stereo. It only play in a DVD player, but you
all
can
the artwork.
But all the artwork and everything. You can look at things while you're listening to the album, and you can also load it into your computer because it's MP3 capable and ready. So this is a cool thing, and you guys, as always, are on the cutting edge, and that'll be out on June 5th. So let's head to Atlanta to talk to Brent. Brent, what do you have for Rush tonight?
Hey, good evening, guys. How are you doing?
Well, great, thanks.
Hey, great to talk to you, and thanks for yet another fantastic gem from the Rush catalog. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Hey, I want to switch gears a little bit and ask you both about your hobbies. You have not always entertained yourself on tour in the traditional rock star fashion. I know, of course, Neil is the cyclist. Geddy, you're a great wine aficionado, and I think Alex is too. And Alex, my question is really for you. Knowing that you're a golfer, I've seen you on the Golf Channel with Rocco, and I was just wondering if you're going to golf your way for entertainment across North America and Europe this tour. And finally, what's your handicap?
I'm a 10. I think I'm 10.8 index. I'm about a 12 handicap. I'm going to try to play as much golf as I possibly can on this tour because it's a wonderful escape for me, and that's what you're always looking for on the road is something to do that's hopefully productive and fun. I'm totally addicted to the sport. I just absolutely love playing, and it is my passion.
I would say my handicap is probably the wine that I collect. That can
my
become a handicap
is how much golf he plays.
We promised a couple out of the past, and we'll play another one for you right now, a song that literally needs no introduction. Tom Sawyer by Rush. We're joined by Alex Lifeson, Geddy Lee. And your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK. Another new song forthcoming and more conversation with Geddy and Alex. And your calls. RocklineRadio.com is our website. Static X will be joining us soon. Ozzy Osbourne's going to be on as well. Chris Cornell, too. Daughtry and Korn, all at RocklineRadio.com. And while you're there, be sure to enter the Simpsons contest that we have with all kinds of cool stuff as they approach their 400th episode. You believe that? 400 Simpsons. We shall play and entertain you with the last 30 seconds of the instrumental, The Main Monkey Business, right now. And once again, Rockline returns with Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and our callers. Thanks for calling. It's Matt's turn from Queen Creek, Arizona. Say that 10 times fast. Matt, you're on Rockline with Alex and Geddy.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Geddy. How you guys doing?
Hi, Matt. Good.
Great. Hi.
Oh, I got a question about the age span of your listeners. I was wondering what you guys think about that because I'm 16 years old, and my dad's 50, and he's been going to Rush shows all his life. And my grandma's 70, and she actually, has been listening to you guys for a long time as well. So I was wondering what you guys thought about.
That's awesome. I love it.
That's
myself.
pretty cool.
I love it. When I look out in the crowd and I see parents and their children there, it just makes me smile. I just think it's the coolest thing to have something in your life that you love so much that you want to share with your kids. Is a wonderful thing, and if our music can do that to some guy and his family, some woman, whatever it is, I just think it's really cool. It's a huge compliment for me.
Yeah, that's a bunch of generations there. Matt, do you have anything else this evening?
I just want to say thank you. I'll be there at Phoenix and possibly Vegas. So.
All right,
that's awesome, Matt.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks very
Thank you,
much,
Matt.
It's Jason's turn as we head to Garden Grove, California. Jason, you're on Rockline with Alex and Geddy from Rush.
Hey, Geddy and Alex, how you guys doing?
Good,
great.
Jason.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you guys. Just my question for you guys is, what's the balance going to be of the set list for this new tour that we can expect to hear?
Yeah, and how do you create a set list at this point?
Well, we're still working all that out. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of new music in this show, and there'll be a lot of older music too. So we'll try to find a balance, but we're trying to make this show as fresh as we can. The fact that we did the R30 tour and we played such a variety of older things has made us want to go back in the vaults and try to unearth some things that may have been overlooked or songs that we have never played before. So there's going to be a combination of songs that, are kind of perennial favorites and a lot of new material and some different old songs.
Are there any songs that you wish you'd not released? That you look back and go, oh man, that just wasn't us at our best? Are you proud of everything?
I'm not proud of everything we've done, but I think it's kind of weird to look at, when our records are time capsules, and I think we've made mistakes. Obviously, we've done some songs that have lived well through time, and others that haven't lived so well. But that's life. That's we learn more from our failures in many ways than we do from the successful songs. So whatever didn't work out taught us to watch out for that next time, or taught us more about songwriting and playing and making records. And it's all how we feel at the time, and it's all very honest about the kind of musicians we are. So I'm not embarrassed by too much of the past. There's the occasional thing.
Yeah, like Tom Sawyer. I hate that song. It sucks.
Well, you're relegated to playing that one every night that you walk on a stage.
Worst song we ever wrote.
As with all great albums, Snakes and Arrows, the more times you listen to it, the more it reveals itself, the better it gets. There's so many great songs on here. One of my favorites is Bravest Face. Any comments on this before we play it, guys? Either one of you?
That's one of my favorites as well. The verse of that song is a great story, because Alex and I were writing at my house, and I stepped out of the room for a minute, and when I came back in, Alex was playing this fantastic part on acoustic guitar, and quite often when he plays these things, he could play them and they're gone forever if you don't capture them, because he's always kind of jamming. So I ran over to the computer, hit record, and recorded this little bit. And he only played that part that way once or twice. And so we captured that and immediately wrote the verse around it. And we really couldn't better it in the studio. So that little moment of recording is actually the verse of this song.
Put on your bravest face. That's Rush from the brand new album Snakes and Arrows. We have Geddy and Alex taking your calls in from St. Joseph, Missouri. We welcome Jeff to Rockline.
Good evening, Bob, and hello to Alex and Geddy, my favorite members of the Big Dirty Band.
Hi.
Hello there. I have a ticket stub of Rush opening for Genesis at a college in Buffalo, New York on December the 1st, 1973. And this is somewhat interesting because I've heard you talk about early gigs opening for the New York Dolls and ZZ Top, but I've never heard you talk about opening for Genesis. Do you have any memories from that particular night?
I don't believe we ever opened for Genesis, to be honest.
Especially in 73.
Must have been another Rush or something.
Maybe it was Ross.
Mahogany Rush.
Maybe it was Mahogany Rush. That's possible.
Jeff, you have a ticket stub that states such?
Yes, I have a ticket stub. It would have been at the university in Buffalo, and so maybe it was a different Rush.
Yeah. It wasn't us. I'm sorry about that.
Well, you've got a real collector's item then, all right? And once again,
Rockline
sets the record straight. Yeah, that's the last thing we need at this point. Yeah, Jeff, thanks for being on. We'll talk to Rob as we head to Dayton, Ohio, to connect with him. Hi, Rob.
Hi, guys. Great to talk to you. I look forward to the show this late summer in Cincinnati. I have a question for you, Geddy and Alex. With all the new devices and the technology that you use on stage, I was curious if overall you feel it makes it easier or harder to get the kind of sound that you want live out of all the songs that you have to do.
Well, that's a really good question, actually, because, it makes it so complicated to play a song now because of all these gadgets that we have, that it's not just, bass guitar drums. It's bass guitar drums and thousands of feet hitting different pedals and triggers and all kinds of things. And as we're right in the heart of rehearsal right now, I can tell you that it's a mental pretzel every day trying to remember what pedal triggers what thing. So I would say it makes your life more difficult. In fact, it makes performance more difficult. But I think the end result is it makes the audio experience for the audience more impressive. I think the fact that we can make three guys sound so complicated and so big, I think is something that our fans really love. I think they really like the challenge of that. So as difficult as it is to do, I can tell you we never get bored up there because you can't let your mind wander for a second without triggering the wrong thing or creating a horrible train wreck on stage. So it definitely makes it more difficult.
And I guarantee you we appreciate it. You three sound like 40 people. Jennifer, Salem, Oregon, we're going to put you on. We are very short on time. Get to it quickly, please.
Hey, guys. This is the third time I've gone through. I'm completely amazed, gobsmacked even, and really glad to talk to you. Two things. One, are you expecting any kind of fallout from the politics of the album? And two, do you ever run into anything where you're just sitting in traffic and you hear a Rush tune come on and you think, hey, that's really great?
Well, yes. As far as fallout from politics, I don't really feel that, because, as I said earlier to another caller, if you take a song like The Way the Wind Blows, it's really discussing what we're all listening to every day of our lives. We are the ones that are affected by the way the wind blows, and we can only grow the way the wind blows. So it's a comment on survival. It's a comment on getting along and coping in a world that has such intense political waves, that has such intense religious waves. And, we are trying to identify with those that aren't in any of those particular camps, but we're trying to get through the day while, trying to cope with all these elements that so very much affect our lives.
We will be back in just a moment on Rockline. It's Rockline. We're back. Not for long, though. The night has flown, as one might imagine. Thanks for listening, for calling to our affiliate stations. Adam Karch, also Mark Saberton at Chum in Toronto, Ray Daniels, Shelley Knott, SRO Anthem, Glenn Fukushima, DB, and Atlantic Records, and, of course, to our esteemed guests, Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. It's always good, you guys, and thank you for the beautiful album.
Hey, thanks, Bob. It's always great to be here with you.
I'm BC, and I'll be seeing you. Rockline has been brought to you by 24 on Fox. The awesome sound of Rockline was made possible in part by Sennheiser mics. Rockline is mixed by Jimmy Rash. Thanks to Kareem Ockley and Tina McCormick for their invaluable contributions. And thanks also to Jamie Sutton and Valley Sound Studios, the home of Rockline. Rockline is produced by Bob Coburn. Assistant producer and talent bookings, Christy Graham. On-site producer and technical direction by Greg Jernigan. Executive producer, Bob Coburn.